Welcome friends to the 2023 Nissan Pathfinder SL review. Let's talk about what's new for 2023, then we can talk about the exterior, the drive, the interior, and then we can conclude. All right, not much has changed for the 2023 model years because the Pathfinder was all new in 2022. That's when we saw all the crazy changes and updates and basically what this vehicle is as you see it, with its new redesign and everything. But we get a new model for 2023, and that is called the Rock Creek, or a off-road variant of the Pathfinder with 18-inch wheels, all-terrain tires, roof racks, etc. This is a model that I have tested and I've driven. I've done a separate video on this car, so if you want to see my thoughts on it, check out the link in the description box. I really love the way the Rock Creek looks. It's pulling off that TRD Toyota 4Runner type vibes without the vehicle being body on frame. It just looks amazing. I love it. Just keep in mind those all-terrain tires. It's going to add some extra tire noise to your driving experience. So if you're okay with that, I would say go for it, because it drives pretty much identical to these regular Pathfinders despite the tires and despite the slight lift that it has over the standard Pathfinder. So fun little vehicle. I enjoyed the Rock Creek, and that's pretty much what's new for 2023. I also noticed that with the SL models, like what I'm testing here, they made the wireless charging pad standard on the regular SL. You don't have to move up to the premium package to get the wireless charging pad. So that's another little change I noted for 2023. Now let's just talk about the exterior now, because after all, it is a fully redesigned vehicle. I would like to know your thoughts in the comment section regarding this, because in my opinion, I really like the way this looks. I like what they did with it, particularly from the side and that rear end. A lot of SUVs, they're trying to chase that Range Rover aesthetic and style, and it's working out great for companies like Kia with the Telluride. Even the designers of the Telluride, they admitted that they use the Range Rover as inspiration with their design, and now look at it, selling for like 20 grand over sticker price. People like it that much. And what's interesting about this Pathfinder is it's the first model where they're now utilizing two-tone paint, right? You can get like a black roof if you want to. This particular Pathfinder is finished in Obsidian Green Pearl. It does have a slight metallic flake in it. So I like the new little colors that they've introduced here. Very reminiscent of the Toyota colors, right? Like they have a new sand color, a gray color as well, and then this green. It's very reminiscent to the Toyota TRD type colors. But some of the actual things that they've done is they've really focused in on making this a wider vehicle. They've increased the width of the front and the rear track, which is going to help with the stability of this vehicle at higher speeds. Also, this new Pathfinder is rocking wider tires than before. We got 255 wide tires in the front and the rear, despite which model you get, okay? 18-inch wheels, 20-inch wheels, doesn't matter. You're going to get the 255 wide tires. And it's true, I've driven this vehicle out on the highway on some windy days, and I really like the way that this new Pathfinder feels. It's not being blown around all over the place. This vehicle does weigh around 4,500 pounds as well. So definitely a nice, girthy vehicle. And that's with all-wheel drive for this particular SL model. I believe the overall length of this SUV is 197 inches long. So under 200 inches should be able to fit in most people's garages without too many issues. Enough of that, let's go ahead and let's transition over into the driving aspects, because that's where this Pathfinder really shines. Okay, we have here a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 engine producing 284 horsepower and 259 pounds-feet of torque. Now, if you got that Rock Creek model that I mentioned, it actually makes a little bit more horsepower and torque if you utilize premium fuel. That's definitely more than enough for most people. That's very potent. I think the 0 to 60 tested by car and driver, it was around 6.6 seconds. And funny enough, the all-wheel drive models are a little bit quicker than the front-wheel drive Pathfinders. The front-wheel drive Pathfinder apparently did 0 to 60 in 6.7 seconds. But those numbers are irrelevant. I mean, pretty much every vehicle in this class, they're all about the same. Even the turbocharged 4-cylinder Mazda CX-9, I mean, they all feel about the same regarding speed and performance, so that's not really an issue. I know many people probably think that this is some archaic, old, decrepit engine that's like 900 years old, but the reality is they did a great job tuning this engine. It's not going to light your world on fire or anything like that. It doesn't even sound that great. It's not like the Honda V6s. The Honda V6 sounds amazing, but it's neutered by a 9-speed automatic transmission, at least for 2022. Keep in mind the Pilot will be all new, redesigned in 2023. And speaking of neutered transmissions, that is not what this Pathfinder has. The highlight here is the 9-speed ZF automatic transmission. No more CVT with these Pathfinders. We've got a tried and true 9-speed ZF automatic, but really, I never had an issue with Nissan CVTs because, hear me out, okay? Many people, they totally misinterpret my messages. The way they tune and the way these Nissan transmissions perform, I've never had an issue with it. In fact, the Nissan Maxima utilizes a CVT transmission, and honestly, it performs better than most traditional automatics, and I'm not even exaggerating about that. The way they tune, the way they perform, it's fantastic. The same story here with this 9-speed ZF transmission. It performs flawlessly. No issues with the way this transmission shifts, no matter what mode you put in. I even like the sport mode in this because when you put in sport mode, it's not hovering around 5,000 RPM when you're doing 45 miles an hour. It's not being stupid. It actually is intelligent, and it knows when you are cruising, and it'll hover under 2,000 RPM for everyday driving. But even the sport mode is not necessary because the normal mode in this Pathfinder, it's actually an auto mode. So the vehicle just automatically knows your driving style. It kind of recognizes what types of terrain you're driving over, and it'll automatically calibrate the transmission to perform perfectly for all your driving needs. So it's never gear hunting. It's never doing anything stupid. It's never done anything to annoy me. Really tight turning radius, despite how long and large this vehicle is. Other things, they did not screw up the ride quality, the steering feel. This steering, it's bang on with its feel. Okay, this is an electric steering rack. It's not overweighted, but it's not too loose. It's not super light or anything like that. It's just exactly where it needs to be. The ride quality, we have here the 18-inch wheels. I did notice when I was initially testing this vehicle, the PSI was at like 37 or something. So when I lowered it to Nissan's recommended 33 PSI, the vehicle rides like butter. It's so good. But I have to warn you, this vehicle is tuned a little bit more on the stiffer side of things, which I don't mind. I think that's a good thing for most SUVs because, well, it's a vehicle that sits up higher. It needs to have slightly stiffer suspension if you want the vehicle to handle decently and to reduce body roll, which I'm very happy to report. This vehicle does not have crazy body roll. It doesn't have any weird jostling effects. When you take a left-hand turn or a right-hand turn, your occupants, your passengers, they're not being flipped over on top of each other. The vehicle remains stable. It remains planted. From a handling standpoint, I just don't have a complaint with it. In all aspects of driving, I do not have an issue with this vehicle. I sat in the second row, the third row. It rides great. And most importantly, this vehicle is quiet. In fact, this vehicle has less road noise than even the 2022 Lexus RX 350 that I tested. Yes, they're actually using thicker carpet with these Pathfinders. We have thicker glass. In fact, we have double pane glass in the front, and thicker glass in the rear compared to the previous generation models, you really don't get a crazy amount of wind noise or wind buffeting. Now, obviously, when you're out on the highway, a little bit of that is going to come in, but it's not like an annoying whistling sound. It's just a natural wind buffeting effect. Like every car has that. That's totally fine. These Toyo Open Country A46 tires, these are actually very good tires. I'm pretty impressed with them. I was driving this car out in the rain. No crazy slippage or anything like that. I'm impressed with them. They don't produce a whole lot of noise. They offer a great amount of grip. But the only thing to keep in mind is this is not an exciting experience by any means. Okay, you buy a Pathfinder, it's not going to light your world on fire. It's not going to change your life or anything. It literally just does its job, and then you park it and you get back in it and it just does it all over again. I mean, that's what this vehicle is about. I mean, don't get me wrong, like the other vehicles in this class, they're not super exciting either, but I will say the Kia Telluride, I would put that at the top regarding driving feel. Almost feels like a Mercedes GLE or something of that effect. So the Telluride is very special, but it's not special enough to the point where you should be paying 20 grand over sticker price for. And that's the other thing to keep in mind. In this economy, you know, which vehicle is the best is actually not the most important aspect, surprisingly. It's the finances, which vehicle is the most affordable. I mean, these are the types of things that you need to keep in mind. I just went over a pretty large bump there, and it's not creaking or rattling. I was talking to you about finances. I'll save that for the conclusion segment, but I'll end off on this for the driving segment. The fuel economy, all right, because obviously that's important to most people. I like that you can utilize regular fuel with these Nissan Pathfinders, but as I mentioned, if you get that Rock Creek and you want an extra boost in horsepower and torque, you can get that by using premium fuel in the Rock Creek only. If you use premium fuel in these regular Pathfinders, it's not going to benefit you at all. Test that all-wheel drive system for you. Got great grip, no problem. It's a very intelligent and good all-wheel drive system. Definitely buy this vehicle with all-wheel drive. It's going to help with your resale value. It also is supposed to drive better as well with all-wheel drive as opposed to the front-wheel drive only models. Another reason for the all-wheel drive is because somehow, some way, the all-wheel drive Pathfinder gets 1 mpg better in the highway than the front-wheel drive version of the Pathfinder. I have no idea how that's even possible. Never in my life have I seen a all-wheel drive version or variant of a vehicle outperform a two-wheel drive version of the same vehicle regarding MPGs. I've never seen that before. This vehicle should be getting 21 in the city, 27 on the highway, and apparently a front-wheel drive Pathfinder is going to be getting 21 in the city and 26 out on the highway. Very strange. The Rock Creek gets significantly less MPGs out on the highway. It's going to do like 23 out on the highway, so keep that in mind. In my personal testing, I got 25 out on the highway, and I get like 18, 19 in the city, but that's pretty much what I get in the real world in all of these three-row SUVs. Even the Mazda CX-9 with the turbo four-cylinder, that does not get significantly better fuel economy. In fact, it gets the same fuel economy as all these naturally aspirated V6s. I would personally shortlist it. In fact, I would actually personally buy this vehicle. Okay, it's that good. It's pulling off a near luxury car type trait with its ride quality and with its refinement and with how quiet it is. With that established, let's now transition over into the interior segment. Okay, now that we are stopped, let's go ahead and let's talk about this interior space as well as the trim levels briefly, because I've actually already covered the different trim levels in great detail with my Rock Creek video that I did of the Pathfinder. So definitely watch that. But in my opinion, I think either the SV or the SL without the premium package is going to be the best value proposition. Now, you might want to get the premium package because what that's going to do is it's going to allow the Pathfinder to tow up to 6,000 pounds because it gives you a transmission cooler, and that's what's necessary to unlock the 6,000 pound towing capability of the Pathfinder. Also, the Rock Creek and the Platinum models can also tow up to 6,000 pounds. So it's these 4 models that can tow 6K. I like this SL without the premium pack because it comes with 18-inch wheels. I like the ride quality here, but you will get some certain niceties like the panoramic moonroof if you're into that, heated rear seats with the SL premium, and also you're going to be getting the 13-speaker Bose audio system if you get the SL premium package, which that's the only enticing thing for me. I will say this 6-speaker audio system in this Pathfinder is not the best. It gets the point across, but you know, if you love your music truly, then you might want to get that 13-speaker Bose audio, or even just step up to the Platinum model, which is a $3,500 increase in price compared to an SL premium. You know, up to you if that's worth it or not, but yeah, I hate the way they make the premium audio systems pretty much exclusive to the top trim levels. Like literally every car manufacturer does this, so something to keep in mind. The SV is another model I really like because it actually comes with cloth seats and it comes with heated seats in the front. So I think the SV is a good way to save some money on the Pathfinder. That's definitely a great value proposition at around $41,000, $42,000. For a massive 3-row SUV like this with 4-wheel drive. I think that's really good. And speaking of seats, I am in love with the zero gravity seats of the Pathfinder. They are so comfortable, so much lower back support. It is very well done. I mean, just in general, like the Nissan zero gravity seats are literally one of the best. If you want to outdo the comfort of these seats, you have to step up to like a Mercedes S-Class or a Lexus LS, or one of these types of flagship vehicles, because that's how good the zero gravity seats are. I did a long road trip in this, 3 hours in one day, and yeah, I was comfortable the entire time. I will say this, the actual material of the seats, like the SL comes with leather seats, but they're not the true leather seats. You have to get the Platinum to get the semi-aniline leather, but these kind of faux leather seats, I'm noticing that they're starting to wrinkle a little bit on this bottom portion here. I'm not really sure how this is going to age over time. So getting the SV model with the cloth seats might be something to consider if you want to keep this car for the long term. And you might want to consider doing that with the Pathfinder because of the tried and true drivetrain system that it comes with. Overall, the interior aesthetic, I'm really in love with it. It's very simplistic. You have plenty of physical buttons and switches. All your climate control is physical. You have your own separate readout for the climate as well. Very well done. Everything is easy to access, easy to grab, not an issue. Very spacious in here, of course. After all, they did make this a wider cabin space. A vehicle like the Mazda CX-9 is really tight and cramped in there. Like, they made the vehicle a little too skinny here. You actually have space between the passengers, which I think a lot of people will enjoy. This leather wrapped steering wheel has a D-shaped pattern to it, a little bit of a flat bottom thing going on, which is rather interesting. You also have paddle shifters here, and you know what? The paddle shifters are not useless. This 9-speed automatic, man, I'm really impressed with it. It does a great job downshifting, especially in the sport mode. You don't need to drive in sport mode, but I just tested it for you, and yeah, I'm really impressed with the paddle shifter performance, except for the upshifts. I've noticed that upshifting in this actually has a delay and takes like a second for it to upshift, and that was a bit annoying. Most cars suck at downshifting and they're decent at upshifting. This is like the opposite of that. So if Nissan wants to improve this transmission, make the upshifts a little bit quicker, a little bit crisper. Otherwise, some of the things I don't like about this interior space is the liberal use of this gloss black plastic. Nissan is not the only one doing this. Most vehicles in this type of category, they're going to use black plastic, glossy black plastic. It's just not the best material, as it's going to smudge and show the scratches. Another thing I'm not a big fan of is actually the seating position, primarily because of the side mirrors and this A-pillar. I've noticed that no matter like what seating position I use, this creates a pretty annoying blind spot. That's not the best, but it's okay. I got used to it. I've just noticed other vehicles in the class, they do a better job packaging this whole A-pillar / side mirror situation. Another thing, I really like the way that these doors feel. The doors are nice, heavy feeling. They make a good sound when you close them. They don't sound like a tin can. These are actually like aluminum doors. aluminum alloy, and I think it saved like 44 pounds compared to the previous generation by utilizing the aluminum alloy doors. But keep in mind, the Nissan Pathfinder is still a IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. In fact, even in the updated side crash tests, the Pathfinder still received good marks. So it's absolutely one of the safest vehicles, along with the Mazda CX-9 in this class. I mean, Top Safety Pick Plus, very impressive. Really appreciate that. And again, they actually utilized a lot more of that sound deadening material in these doors as well. You have plenty of space in the door pockets. You got one-touch up and down windows for all 4 windows. Pretty much all the important safety features are standard with the Pathfinder. You know, you got things like the blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert. All that is standard, even with the base model. It's just when you go up in trim level like this, you start to get things like the Pro Pilot Assist with the navigation, turn-by-turn. They kind of synchronize both of those technologies together to make a better highway driving assistant package. You have like this hands-on highway assistance with the Pro Pilot, and when it's in conjunction with the navigation system, it just does a better job of, you know, modulating the speed when cornering out on the highway. So a very safe car. I like the fact that the pragmatic safety features are standard. You also have things like the automatic headlights. When you go with this SL model, you put the vehicle into reverse, you actually have a 360 camera, and it's a nice, crisp backup camera, a front camera as well. When you're parking in the garage, that could come in handy. The SL models will come with a 9-inch display, as opposed to the S and the SV. They're going to come with a 8-inch screen. Nothing wrong with that, but just thought I would let you know. You also get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with this 9-inch screen. I don't believe the 8-inch models get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You actually have to plug in your phone. And overall, I don't mind this infotainment system. It works pretty well. It's pretty good to react. However, I will say certain things, it just looks a little clumsy. When you click the map button, I just don't like the way some of the words are just kind of jumbled up at the bottom there. It just doesn't look that nice. But I'm going to assume most of you are going to live in Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, so it's not going to be as big of a deal. That's kind of the same complaint I have with the digital gauge cluster here. We don't have the full 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. That's only for the Platinum models, but here we have a smaller screen, and it shows you some great information. But I'm not a huge fan of the menu structure and you know, the way it's set up. It doesn't look the best either, in my opinion. Once again, some of those menus, it just looks a little jumbled up there at the bottom. It's just not super attractive. It's just minor little things with the menu structures like that, but for the most part, the technology is good. The information is good, not a problem. And I do like the physical gauges that we have here. I also like the physical buttons. I like the way the climate control is totally separated from the screen. You have your own separate digital readout for your temperatures and your fan speed, etc. We got the heated seats in the front and a heated steering wheel as well with this SL model. They work really quickly. Like when you turn on those 2 buttons, the vehicle is rapidly heating the steering wheel and the seats. I really like that. And if you go with the premium package of the SL, you can get the heated rear seats as well. They also made the wireless charging pad standard in 2023 for the SL models. Before you had to get the premium pack, now you just get it with 2023. On the SL, you have an electronic parking brake, which I wish it would just turn off automatically when you put the vehicle in the drive. But fortunately, when you put your foot on the gas, it'll turn off the parking brake. Some people may or may not like this digital shifter. I personally do like it. I think it's good. I think it looks nice. The auto stop start is not the best. I just turn it off. You have 2 decent sized cup holders. You have your drive mode selector here. All of this feels great. I like the knobs in here. They have a good feedback to them. A soft but good feedback for the volume knobs, climate control knob, and this drive mode selector. I do like it. Good amount of space in the glove box and in the center console. That's not a problem. As mentioned, the headroom, the width, all very comfortable, all great things about this new Pathfinder. And because we don't have the moonroof here, you actually get a few extra inches of headroom, particularly in the rear. So much legroom in the back. I like the fact that you get these sunshades in the rear with this SL model. So yeah, with all these like little features, I think the SL without the premium pack, with the 18-inch wheels, I think this is probably the model that I would try to go with. You have your own climate control in the back. and you can easily fold down these seats. And I forgot what Nissan calls it, but there's like this very easy way of folding the second row seats forward to get in and out of the third row seats. All you have to do is press a little button, and the second row seats, it just jumps forward. Very easy to get into that third row, and it's very easy to put the seat back as well once you're in the third row. I did try to sit back there, and I even rode in the third row seats. I can't really fit. I'm 5'11", and it's very difficult for me. There's two different settings for the second row. Like if you have the second row seats pushed forward a little bit, yes, I have room to fit back there, but then the second row occupants aren't going to have as much space to sit. Once the second row seat is pushed all the way back, it's pretty much impossible for me to sit in the third row. So keep that in mind. It's really meant for kids. Of course, you can just buy this and just fold down the third row seats and have a massive trunk. Another thing I like, the trunk space is very good even with the third row seats up. When you lift up the little cover, there's another massive amount of space inside of that trunk when you lift up that cover, and they put the spare tire underneath the vehicle like you would find in a pickup truck. Nice packaged vehicle. I really do approve of the Pathfinder. In fact, it's probably the vehicle that I would buy over pretty much a lot of the competition. I like how refined and comfortable and just how luxury-esque this is feeling. I genuinely don't have a single complaint driving this car. This 9-speed automatic, man, it is a true gem, especially in conjunction with that V6 engine. It really performs great. It gives me the exact gear when I need it. That's why the automatic mode is so perfect. And that's why, even though it doesn't have like all the horsepower in the world, because it always puts you in the right gear, you always have confidence in it. You can always pass people. It's never an issue. It's always satisfying. I like how quiet it is. I like how spacious the interior is. The wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, there's no hiccups with it. It just works. And also, it's one of the better value propositions in today's market, and that's very important to talk about. I really like the leasing deals that Nissan has set up here. The 18-month lease deals with 10,000 miles per year. It's so affordable. I mean, if you do like a one-pay lease on a Pathfinder for 18 months, you can literally drive this car for around like $400-ish a month, $450, $460 a month if you have perfect credit and you do like a one-pay lease. So affordable for what this is. And if you want to take advantage of a deal like that, I will have AutoCompanion's link in the description box. They're located in Washington, D.C. They are a leasing broker, car broker, if you will. You can finance the vehicle too, but like the lease deals are so good and so affordable that it's kind of my pick, especially when the Telluride, even though that's my true most favorite vehicle in this class, when it's selling for $20K over sticker price, it's hard to recommend it. Toyota is also like impossible to deal with. So you could get the Highlander hybrid. That's definitely a vehicle that I suggest if fuel economy is important to you. If you can get a Highlander hybrid at MSRP, I would jump on it. I would just go and get that. But the Pathfinder is a great option. In fact, you can try to replicate that one-pay lease deal with your local dealership. However, I've noticed not too many Nissan dealerships are capable or knowledgeable in regards to doing one-pay leases. So that's something to watch out for and something I noticed. With everything I talked about, with all the capabilities, with all the new updates that they made to this, and with the excellent deals that you can get on these Pathfinders, you can probably get between 6 to 8% off MSRP as well. That's kind of the average that I've noticed. With all that taken into consideration, yeah, this is definitely a go for me. This is probably what I would select in this market. That's my thoughts regarding the Pathfinder. Let me know yours. Do you like this vehicle? Have you enjoyed this comprehensive review? Leave your thoughts below. I'll have the next video on the end screen here for you to check out, and I will see you there.